To continue the conversation is Illinois Democratic Congressman Mike Quigley. He's a member of the House Intel Committee. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. What does the Michael Flynn guilty plea mean to you?
Yeah, every investigation begins like what we've seen. It begins at the periphery and moves toward the center. It gains momentum as facts are learned and people are interviewed, as you just described. See that momentum increases exponentially when there's cooperation, and when, indeed, in a situation like this, we hear of a key witness flipping. So I think this is moving inexorably toward finding out exactly what took place. I ask the American public to be patient, and I ask members of Congress not to impede either the Mueller investigation or the House and Senate investigations.
There do seem to be some splits, more so on the House side than on the Senate side, with Republican members of your committee suggesting that this is really an investigation about Russia doing things to interfere in the election, and that they're slightly less interested in vigorously pursuing whether or not the Trump campaign had anything to do with Russia. How would you characterize that?
I think that there are those on the House side that just want the investigation to go away. They've created a shiny object at every opportune moment to say, this is what you should be focusing your attention on. I think some of them might have gone to law school in the, oh yeah, what about you class. This is the most important investigation in our nation's history. I would say to Democrats and Republicans, let's remember, the Russians hacked into States' Board of Election in an attempt to alter that process. How far did they get? We're not sure yet. That's extraordinarily important. We could also understand the circumstances in which it would be easy to believe that the Russians would try to help a Democrat and hurt a Republican. Obviously, the intel community has reached a consensus that in this case, the Russians were attempting to help the Trump campaign and hurt the Clinton campaign.
Do you feel in the minority on that House Intelligence Committee that you can get everyone to take this seriously and get the investigation that you want done? Because you said you asked the American people to have patience. Do you feel that you've got the power on that committee to get the correct investigation underway?
Well, I think Mr. Conaway on the Republican side has done a good job working with Mr. Schiff to keep the investigation forward. I think the chairman of the committee has made that more difficult with what can only be described as rogue tangents that are clearly not bipartisan in nature. I think the progress we've seen on the Mueller investigation works both ways. I mean, it provides us an opportunity to educate the American public that this is really serious. People are being charged with felonies, and in one case, perhaps the most serious, there has been a plea agreement already. So this is serious. Don't let it enter into this investigation. On the other hand, I think we've seen the president become quite animated and bizarre tweets taking place. I think it raises genuine concerns that the Trump administration would do as much as they possibly can, not just to impair the investigation, but to obstruct it, beginning with just bizarre tweets this week about what the president claims to have known about what Mr. Flynn was up to.
And are you guys in a position to handle those types of issues? I mean, I guess it's not clear to all Americans what Mueller's team is doing versus what you're doing versus what the Senate is doing. If we see progress on the Mueller investigation, 2 guilty pleas so far, and 2 people charged, do we presume similar progress on the congressional investigation?
Well, one of the things we're hoping that the Flynn plea will do is provide access to the general to the House and Senate. What is required is additional cooperation. I'm hoping that the Mueller investigation will allow us access to General Flynn so we all know more. Clearly, we have a 4-pronged investigation. The Mueller investigation involves the criminal aspects. He has more influence and power toward those ends, but they all have extreme. The mere fact that we've been out there for over a year now pushing this investigation, trying to learn more, has made it much more difficult for the Trump White House to halt the Mueller investigation. Let's remember, he fired Mr. Comey for, in his own words, that Russian thing.
Congressman, good to talk to you. Thank you for joining us. Illinois Congressman Mike Quigley is a member of the House Intelligence